Hello friends, thank you for watching this video. I am Mohamad, and today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be seeing how we can actually configure and install Kubernetes on our own servers. We're going to have full control of our Kubernetes cluster. We're going to have a fully managed Kubernetes cluster. We're going to have a control plane. We're going to have 2 worker nodes, and we're going to be going through the step-by-step process of how we can actually setting it up. We're going to be using an AWS infrastructure to do this. So we have already created the AWS infrastructure in a previous video. If you didn't watch it, I'm going to be linking in the description down below, or I'm going to be linking it here somewhere where you can actually go and check it out, or you can utilize basically any configuration or any infrastructure that you might have where you have multiple virtual machines available. One of the main things that you need to pay attention to is you need to have Ubuntu version 20.04 available in order for us to make sure that all of this installation goes as required. But other than that, you should be able to follow along and basically have everything running as it should be. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. It will really help the channel. As well, if you'd like to support me, please consider supporting me on Patreon or buying me a coffee. Now with that said, grab your cup of coffee and let's get started. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating our own Kubernetes cluster. So we already have 3 EC2 instances running. All of them are the same, running on Ubuntu 20.04. If you want to learn more about how we created those, I'll link the video here somewhere where you can actually go through the same process of creating them through Terraform. It's a very in-depth process where we create everything from our VPC to our subnets to our root table, so on and so forth. So it's a really interesting video if you want to watch it, but if you don't, you can just directly start from here if you already have your EC2 instance set up. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking these 3 instances of our EC2. We're going to be basically creating a control plane, which is going to be the main one responsible to manage our Kubernetes cluster. We're going to be creating 2 workers as well. So once we have done all of that, we're going to be able to configure Kubernetes and make sure that our cluster is working as it should be. So now let's get started. But before we do that, let's take a look at the diagram that we currently have inside AWS, and we're going to be able to see where are we going to be installing Kubernetes and configuring it. So this is the current infrastructure that I currently have inside my AWS VPC. So I already have a VPC set up. I already have a subnet. I have already a security group, internet gateway, so on and so forth. And I already have 3 EC2 instances running. One of them called the control plane, one of them called the worker 1, another one called worker 2. And that's it. Basically, they are still fresh. They don't have anything running on them. They are just pure Ubuntu servers at this moment. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going step by step of how we can actually configure them, how we can actually install the right packages. We're going to be seeing how we can install Kubernetes cluster, how are we going to be able to configure Kubernetes, and how we can allow those worker nodes to connect to the main control plane. So that's going to be the purpose behind this video. So let's get started. So what I already did is I have already added the SSH keys, but if you want to get your own based on your implementation, I suggest to you to go to your AWS portal, click on EC2, choose the instance that you want. For example, if I say I want to do it with my control plane, I click on my control plane, click on connect, and here you're gonna see SSH client. Inside my SSH clients, you're gonna see the example code that you can utilize to connect to your EC2 instances. And once you have done that, go back to your terminal and just put it here, and you'll be able to connect to it. Just make sure that you have your key available and you have already CH modded to 400, so you're able to utilize it. And that's it. So now what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be connecting to these 3 instances simultaneously. So now I'm going to say yes. As you can see, that's the first time I connect to them. Connected already to my EC2 instance. Let's connect to this one. And let's connect to this one. Perfect. So now that we have logged into our application, the next step is let's just do sudo. First of all, let's clear this out. There's a lot of random text. So clear, and clear. So first thing I want to do on all 3 of them is going to be sudo apt-get. I'm going to say update. Again, sudo apt-get update. Let's copy this so we don't have to keep copy pasting writing. So basically right now we're doing the update, And next, once that, we need to do an upgrade. So again, sudo apt-get upgrade. So all of these commands that we're going to be running on the 3 servers simultaneously. So the first of all is the update, then we're going to be running the upgrade. And yes, I want to install these upgrades. Perfect. Now let's run the same command here. And let's run the same command here. Yes, do you want to run them? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Perfect. Now that my servers are being updated, install all the latest packages, which is we always need to do.
A few moments later.
So now that we have updated our servers, the next step is we need to set up the host name for all of them. So we're going to do this for every single one of them. So the first one we're going to start with is our control plane. We're going to put sudo host name ctl set dash host name. We're going to make it Kubernetes dash control, because that's going to be the first one. Perfect. Now we're just going to copy this and we're just going to change the name for the rest. So here, instead of control, we're going to make it worker1. And for the second one, it's going to be worker2. Okay, perfect. The next step is we need to set up our, add these hosts to our machines. So in order for us to do that, we're going to put sudo. Again, we're going to do it for all 3 servers. So sudo nano, and then it's going to be /etc/hosts. And then all we're going to be doing here is just adding those 3 hosts. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to go back to my web browser, instances, and inside my instances, I'm gonna just check their internal IP, and we can see here that for worker1, the internal IP is 10.0.2.34. So we're gonna take that, I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna put, this is gonna be k8s dash worker1. Then I'm gonna go back, check the worker2. We're gonna see it's .2.99. So let's put this here, and then we're gonna put k8s dash worker2. And lastly, we're going to take the control plane. And as you can see, all of them have .10.0.2. something, because that's going to be the subnet that you have specified, the IP range that we have specified within our subnet. And this is going to be k8s-control. So also what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this, because we're going to add them the same on the other 2 workers. So let's save this. Yes. And then here we're going to add, we're gonna go, first for the command to find them. So it's gonna be sudo nano, let's remove this, sudo nano etc /hosts. Then we're gonna add this here, Ctrl X, Y, and then here we're gonna put also sudo nano etc hosts, and we're gonna add this here as well. Perfect. Ctrl X, Y, and now if we go back, we should be able to see it there. Perfect. So now that we have updated this, the next step for us is we need to add some libraries which is going to be able to utilize. So here I'm just going to clear these screens so we'll have much more space. Clear and clear. Perfect. So now we need to enable some modules. We're going to put cat, then we're going to put eof sudo t /etc /modules -load .d /containerd.conf, and then we're going to enable the first one, which is going to be overlay, and then the second one is going to be br_netfilter, and then we're going to put eof, and then we're going to run this. I added a lot of e's, so let's remove that. Okay, perfect. Now we have overlay and net filters available. So let's copy this and make them available on the other servers. So let's copy this one. Let's execute it here. And let's execute it here. Perfect. Perfect. So now that we have added these, the next step is we need to restart our system services. So these modules are loaded. So we're going to put sudo mod probe overlay. Perfect. And then we're going to put sudo again mod probe br underscore net filter. Perfect. We're going to take these two commands as well, execute them on the other two servers. And here. And then we're going to take the second one. So once we have done that, the next step is we want to enable some networking configuration. So Kubernetes is able to take full advantage of them, and we're going to enable them so whenever the server runs, it will be able to actually execute. Inside my control plane, again, this is going to be executed on the 3 servers. So first of all, we're going to put cat, not car, cat. And then we're going to put EOF. And then here we're going to specify etc /sysdl dot d /99 Kubernetes -cri.conf. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to enable net dot bridge dash nf dash call dash IP tables equal 1. Then we're going to enable net dot bridge, actually net dot IPv4 dot IP underscore forward equal 1. And the last one here we're going to enable, it's going to be net dot bridge dot bridge dash nf dash call dash IP6 tables equal 1. And then we're gonna close the file. So it's gonna be etc sysdl.d /99 kubernetes.cri.conf, and then from there we're gonna add them. And we can see no such file. Let's make sure that we have added correctly. So if we go back up, it's gonna be etc /sysctl.d / that should be fine. Oh, I forgot the T. Okay, I'm gonna put sudo T, and then that should work. Okay, perfect. So now I'm just gonna copy those things into the other 2 servers. So let's copy this one, just gonna paste it here, and I'll paste it here. Okay, perfect. Again, let's do clear and clear and clear. So the next step that we want to do, actually I just want to exit to show you one thing. So here I exit from the server. Now I'm gonna connect back again to it, and I just want to show you that what's changed here is now we can see that the hostname of my server has switched to control plane. And now if I exit also from my worker and connect back, we should see this is going to be worker 1. Perfect. Similarly here, exit. If I exit and then connect back again, we can see it's going to say worker 2. So here it's just a better visual representation of which server I'm currently working on, rather than have to depend on the IP addresses. So the next step that we want to do is, in order for us to run Kubernetes, we're going to be requiring a service which is called containerd. And containerd, this the only way we're going to be able to install it is by utilizing Docker, and we want to basically utilize the packages that Docker are going to be utilized in order for us to make this run. So what I'm going to do here, the command is going to be a bit lengthy, so I'm not going to basically type it all up. I'm just going to copy paste it, and I'm going to make sure to post this command inside the description if you want to need it, or I'm going to post a reference to it so you can be able to directly go there and get it. So let me just get the code. Before that, let's do some sudo apt install and update, and then we'll be able to do it. So sudo apt-get update, sudo apt-get update, sudo apt-get update, just to make sure that everything is up to date. So So now we need to install some packages. So let's do that right now. So we're gonna put sudo apt-get install. Let's put curl. We can see that curl is already installed. Let's install another one. Sudo apt-get install ca-certificates. Perfect, it's already installed. And the last one we're going to be utilizing is going to be sudo apt-get gnup. Okay, sorry, we need to put install. Perfect. GNUPG, sorry, forgot the G. Okay, perfect. Now that it's installed, so I'm just gonna copy this and run them on the other two servers as well. Perfect. Install CA certificates, and lastly we're gonna install the curl command. Perfect. So now that I have all of these installed and available, I'm just gonna take that code that allows me to get containerd available, and I'm just gonna run it here inside my control plane first. So now we can see that this has worked. Now let's copy paste it again into my worker nodes and the second worker node. Perfect. So now that I have done that, the next step is going to be as simple as, first let's clear the screen so we can install containerd. And here all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to put sudo apt-get update, and then I'm going to put and sudo apt-get install -y is going to be containerd, d.io, and now this should be able to download and install correctly. So we can see here it's being downloaded, and we can see it's taking it from the Docker, which is basically the library that we have just added. And then let's just copy paste the same code from the rest, and let's run this here, and let's run this here. Okay, perfect. Let's clear this up. And let's clear this again, clear and clear. Great. So now that we have set these up, the next step is we need to actually create the configuration. So we're gonna put sudo make directory basically -p /etc/containerd. This command and put it on the other two. And let's execute this here, let's execute this here. Perfect. So now all I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to add the configuration for containerd. We're just going to put sudo apt-get update, and I'm going to put and sudo, and then we're going to put apt- Now all we need to do is just put the configuration for containerd. It's going to be something around those lines. Sudo containerd config default. Then we need to write them down. So we're going to put sudo t /etc/containerd /config.toml. And now we can see the configuration has been generated. So we can just take this and copy paste it to the other two servers. Perfect. Now we can see that our containerd is actually running, or basically the configuration has been added. Now we need, in order for us to utilize Kubernetes, we need to turn off swipe off, which comes by default enabled in Linux. So let's do this right now on the 3 servers. So here what we're going to be doing is sudo swap off -a. Similarly here, sudo swap off -a, and then similarly here, sudo swap off -a. And something we forgot to do is we need to restart the systemctl in order for us to be able to utilize containerd. So let's do this, sudo systemctl restart containerd, And now we have restarted. Let's copy this code and put it on the other two servers as well. And do it here. And now we have restarted. And if we want to check the status, we can just put sudo systemctl status, and we can put containerd, and we can see it's running, and we can see it's the active. Perfect. I'm not gonna execute this on the other three servers because it should be the same. So now that we have done that, what we need to do is we need to curl some of the GPG requirement for Kubernetes to run, and this is going to be a key area that we need to implement in order for us to get the Kubernetes information inside our server. So now what I need to do is I need to install the Kubernetes GPG, and I'm going to utilize the curl command. So I'm going to put curl -s https packages dot cloud google.com /apt /doc /apt -key.gpg, and then we're gonna put the sudo apt -key add dash. And I forgot to put an L for curl. Let's do this again. Again, the new keyboard, apologies. Perfect. So let's copy this and implement them on the other two servers. Perfect. So now what I need to do is I need to add the Kubernetes package list. So to do that, I'm gonna put sudo less than EUF. I'm gonna put sudo t /etc /etc /apt /sources .list .d /kubernetes .list, and then here all I'm gonna add is the deb. So I'm just gonna copy paste this URL, so rather me than trying to type it all. Perfect. And then finally I'm just gonna end the file, and we see we have a problem. Let's see, what is it? Sudo f, oh, forgot the t. Let's add this right now. Let's add it here. Perfect, we have added it. So let's copy this again and add them to the other two servers as well. Perfect, great. So now that you have these package list has been installed, let's do sudo apt -get update. Let's update our package list. Similarly here, sudo apt -get update, and let's just clear directly after. We can see now we're getting all of the packages from Kubernetes being added, which is exactly what we want. And let's clear this up. Again, sudo apt -get update. Perfect, let's do a clear, and let's do another clear here. Great. So now that we have updated our package list, now that we need to install some of the Kubernetes instance like kubectl, kubeadm, and kubelets. So let's install these. So sudo, and the why we are able to install this, we have already added Kubernetes packages list, and we basically our Ubuntu will be able to directly find them and install them. So we're going to put sudo apt -install -y kubelet, and we're going to specify the version 1.24.0, and then we're going to install the kubeadm. We're going to install the same version. It's going to be equal to 1.24.0, and then another one which is going to be the kubectl. It's going to be equal to 1.24.0. apt, there's always some kind of syntax issue, so we're just going to put the get and then install, and we can see I think we have to put the -00 like this. Let's try see if this will work. Yeah, we need to add all of the version. So now we can see it's being installed successfully. Now it's installing the kubelet, kubeadm. It's adding the triggers, and now it's finished. So let's copy paste that same code across the other servers. Let's install it here as well. Let's do a clear. Clear. Again, a new keyboard, apologies. Let's do a clear here. Everything is installed successfully, and everything is installed successfully. So the next step is we want to implement some control over the versioning of our Kubernetes libraries, packages that we have just installed, and we don't really want it to basically automatically update when there's a new package. So we want to hold the update until we update manually. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. And to achieve this is pretty straightforward. All we have to do is just put sudo apt-mark hold for kubectl, kubeadm, and kubelet. Now we can see they are on hold. Oh, kubelet without an e. Kubelet, typos over typos. Okay, perfect. Everything is already on hold. So let's take this and let's put them here. And let's put it here. And now basically all of these packages we're not going to be able to update unless we update them manually, even though if we do a package update apt-update and then -upgrade, it will not work. We have to update them manually. So once we have done that, now what we need to do is only this command is only going to be executed on the control plane, because what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be initiating the Kubernetes cluster on that control plane server. And once we initialize that Kubernetes cluster, we're going to be able to basically create some code where we're going to allow the workers to join that cluster. So let's see how we can do that. I'm going to put sudo adm, actually kubeadm init --pod network -cidr. It's going to be 192.168.0.0/16. So that's going to be the IP ranges of my Kubernetes cluster. And then I'm going to specify the Kubernetes version, which is going to be 1.24.0. Let's see. Okay, so I think we have missed one of the things, which is regarding the IP flight. So let's do this right now. Let's put sudo, maybe we need to restart it, ctl system --system. Let's do this. Okay, I think now it should work. We needed to restart, so let's try this again. Yeah. So now it's doing all of the necessary checks in order for us to have the Kubernetes admin, or basically the Kubernetes cluster on the control plane installed. So this will take time. Sometimes we'll come back once this is finished.
A few moments later.
Okay, perfect. So now this has been installed. If we put kubectl get all is refused, maybe it takes a bit of time for it to run. So let's give it a bit of time.
A few moments later.
While we're waiting, let's add the configuration for it. We're gonna make dir. Actually, let's clear it up so it will be more clearer. So we're gonna put make dir -p home, and then here we're gonna put /.kube, and here we're gonna be storing the Kubernetes cluster configuration, and then we're gonna put sudo cp -i /etc /kubernetes /admin.conf space, again $home /.kube /config, and the last one is going to be sudo. We need to update the chown. I'm going to put $parentheses id-u, so we're getting the actual current user, and then we're going to put it to the id-g Then we'll close this up, and then we'll put $home. We need to specify which is the path we want to give it to it, or basically which file we want to change this permission to, or folder /cube/config, and now we can see it's running. And lastly, if I put right now kubectl get nodes, I should be able to see my control plane. And as you can see here, that I have my control plane ready, added as a node, but I don't have it ready yet. It will take some time for it to get ready, so let's give it some time, and before it will be able to utilize them. So once that is done, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna basically install the networking extension for Kubernetes. So right now Kubernetes will need to have some kind of a networking extension, so it will be able to communicate with other nodes, and this is what we're gonna be installing right now. So we're gonna put actually let's just copy kubectl apply -f. It's a normal Kubernetes command, but the only thing different is where are we going to be applying here, and this YAML file, we're going to be getting it from this URL. Oops, this is not it. Let's just copy paste it. Let's do it clear. And here you can see we're doing kubectl apply -f, which is applying a file, and this YAML file is located on this URL, and it's basically going to be the Calcio endpoint, where we're actually able to install this file inside our Kubernetes cluster. And here we can see it has been created successfully, and we can see the daemon set is updated. And if I put kubectl get nodes now, we're going to be able to see that my kubectl or my control plane is ready. It's not ready yet, but at least it's still there. And we can put kubectl get all. Oops, kubectl. We forgot the L. And here you can see that this is my cluster, which is running, which is exactly what I wanted. Now, so once I have done that, the next thing that I want to do is I just want to create a token where I can allowing other workers to join. So I'm just going to put kube adm token create --print -join command. And basically what I'm doing right now is I'm creating some like an invitation, and this invitation is going to be executed on the two workers, and once they are executed, basically they will be able to join my cluster as workers. So we're going to have a control plane, and I'm going to have two workers available. So right now if I copy this and I execute it here, oops, we need to make it a sudo before we execute it. And it's the same thing regarding the IP forwarding. So let's do the similar restart, similar to what we have done before. Let's add it here. It's going to be sudo sysctl --system, and now I should be able to execute this correctly. Perfect. Now we can see it's starting to join that network, and I'm going to execute this again here, sudo sysctl --system. I'm restarting the services, and now I can basically just, oops, I need to put sudo first. And now it's joining the bootstrap, and we can see here that it has joined the control plane, or this is exactly what we want. And we can see here it's also joined the control plane, which is exactly what we want. And if I do right now here kubectl get nodes, we should be able to see that I have my control plane, I have my worker 1 and my worker 2 available. The status of the control plane is ready now, which is active. The worker 1 and worker 2 is going to take a few minutes before they are ready. Let's check again. Oh, now they are all ready. And basically right now what I have a fully working Kubernetes cluster inside my EC2 instances. And let's do a quick summary of what we have done here. Is basically what we did is we have taken 3 EC2 instances which was running on AWS inside the same VPC, inside the same subnet. And what we did is we have configured one of these services as a control plane. We configured the other two as worker nodes. We installed all of the correct configuration. We have enabled all the right modules. And once we have done that, we have hooked them all together in a single cluster. And basically this is the first step of having a full Kubernetes cluster available. So here we can see that we are actually able to have a fully working independent Kubernetes clusters inside our own custom EC2 service. And this can have benefits and disadvantages. The benefits is we have much more control of how we are managing this Kubernetes cluster, any extra feature we want to install, so on and so forth. But Disadvantage is we're going to have much more manual work in order for us to set up this and keep it up to date, and basically making sure that everything is running smoothly. So I hope this video was helpful. Please like, share and subscribe if you like this video. It will really help the channel. As well, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments down below. Thank you for watching and have a great day.